Okay, good, perfect. Good, perfect then. Good,
We'll give like 5 seconds for the disclaimer.
good, excellent. Okay, he's busy.
Very
Okay,
busy.
if you need anything, you let me know.
And I'm going to start recording.
Okay. The mic's on. Everyone's running too? Everything's running. How about that? Beautiful. This is kind of a different time for us. Normally we start, we used to do it on Monday, but with the holiday and everything, we're doing a little special. So this is kind of like a pop-up podcast for you. And what we're going to talk today about is kind of a fun topic. Home remedies that really work. Because so many people say, you know, Dr. Joe, what can I do for blank without drugs, without surgery? Now, I can't tell you to take drugs or surgery. That's not my job. But I can tell you these are some things that you can incorporate in addition to what you're doing to see if you get the results that you're hoping for. So what happens is I'll talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, can enter any questions that you might have. If you have questions, at the break, John will read me the questions. I will then go ahead and do another 24-minute segment, and then we'll take some more questions from you as well. So that's what we're here for today. I know it's kind of an odd time pop-up, but it's cool. If you're listening live, put in hashtag live right now, if you would, please, and also where you're from. If you're listening on a recording, put in hashtag replay. Hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you would do that for me, I'd appreciate it. And then where you're listening from, because I always like to know that too. So that's pretty much it. So you ready to go, John?
Let's do the disclaimer.
Okay. Hold on one second, folks. Got to put disclaimer up. Okay, there we are. So that's how the game is played, and I'm really glad you're here. So you ready to go, John? All right, here we go. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Welcome. Glad you could be here with us today. What we're going to talk about today, kind of a fun topic, are home remedies that really work. Because I've been in practice, again, I've been seeing patients with my internships and everything about 40 years. And patients come to me all the time and say, Dr. Joe, I want a natural way to deal with blank. I don't want to say treat because I don't like that word. Deal with. And so this is not intended to replace any treatments that you're having, any medical protocols that you're having, any natural protocols that you're doing. This is an addition to that. So these are fun things that you can do. A lot of these things I've done myself over the years. Usually when I talk about anything, if I have the capabilities of doing it, I use myself as a guinea pig. So I want to make sure of the validity of what I'm saying, because you can read stuff online and you can read articles, even books. I've read books already, and I said, wow, that's brilliant. And then it turns out that it was all junk. So we never quite know what we're going to get into. And that's why I like to verify with myself, not just scientific verification. I want actual experience with it. So we're going to talk about home remedies that really work. So let's start out with something called peppermint oil. Now, my tea today is actually peppermint, because I thought I'd do that in honor of the show today. But peppermint is great, and the oil, which is, extracted out, can help with irritable bowel syndrome. It can calm down the bowels. Number one reason we see patients is pain. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, car accidents. And my team of doctors and I are really good at getting people out of pain. However, the number two reason we see patients is digestive problems. Heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. I had somebody send me a message on my website, drjoe.com, just the other day, and he said, Dr. Joe, I have too much stomach acid. What can I do to lower my stomach acid? Well, in my career, and seeing thousands, tens of thousands of patients, I've never known anyone to have too much stomach acid. What usually happens is they have too little stomach acid. And when they have too little stomach acid, the food isn't broken down fast enough. So the food sits in their stomach for too long. And when it sits there, simply put, it rots. And when it rots, it can give off gases, and that can cause acid reflux. And you're having acid coming up in your throat, and you think it's too much stomach acid. In reality, it's too little. And so I responded back. I said, I need to know how you know you have too much stomach acid. You have a test done or something? Because I've never known anyone to have too much. It's always too little. So in cases like that, the food can pass from the stomach into the small intestine, where essentially it's rotting, irritating the bowels, and that can cause things like irritable bowel syndrome. So peppermint oil, with irritable bowel syndrome, you might have gas, cramps, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. And also peppermint oil can be good for headaches. So if you have real peppermint oil, this is something I got to tell you too. there's fake oils out there too. You want to get a pure essential oil. If you do peppermint oil, in this case, food grade. And you could just rub it on your temples, just a little bit. Now, is it going to be the cure-all for your migraines? Probably not. Is it going to help? Probably. So just a little bit on your temples works. You put a little bit on your underneath your nose, actually. You can smell it. That can help as well. So just consider that this is not the end-all, be-all, cure-all, because even if the peppermint oil, let's say, gets rid of your headaches, let's assume it settles down your irritable bowel syndrome, that doesn't mean we fix the cause. We're just treating the symptoms. Now, it's good. No side effects from that, but it's pretty effective. So peppermint oil is kind of cool. Another home remedy that oftentimes works is honey. Now, honey may work just as well as over-the-counter cough medications in most cases. Again, I'm not telling you not to take medication, but it could be especially helpful for children who aren't old enough to take some of these cough remedies, cough syrups. And the reason I say that is the cough syrups, any medication is going to have side effects. So honey can work pretty well in many cases. Now, I got to give you a warning. Don't give it to an infant or a toddler younger than 1. There is, I think it's botulism, there's a bacteria in there that can cause food poisoning in children under the age of 1. So don't give any child honey for any reason under the age of 1, not just for this, but for anything. So you got to be careful with that. Now, I want to talk about honey for a second. A lot of the honey on the market is fake. What do you mean it's fake? It's honey. See it in the jar. Well, what happens is it depends where the honey comes from. If you're going to get honey, it should come from one source. One of the ways the fakers do it is they say it's from multiple sources. It's from United States, Canada, Australia, and Germany, let's say, making that up. And that gives you more chances to have fake ingredients added to it. So if you have real honey, a couple of ways you can test it is you drop it on your finger. It should stay there. If it starts to run down your finger, it's probably fake. It's probably cut with high fructose corn syrup. If you put it in water, it should sink to the bottom. You should have to stir it to break it up. If it doesn't do that, chances are pretty good it's a fake honey. Now, why do we do this? Well, honey's expensive to make. Was it a bee makes a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime or so, a tablespoon? So it's not a lot of honey that one bee makes, and it's got to be harvested. And so if we could just add high fructose corn syrup to it, sell it at honey prices, pretty high profit item. So think about that. If you put the honey on your finger and it stays there, it's probably okay. And the reason is honey is really thick. If it's watered down or cut with water or high fructose corn syrup, it's going to become watery. So just be careful with that, because one of the worst things you can eat is high fructose corn syrup. So you're thinking you're doing something good. Honey's still high in sugar, by the way. It's not really great, but you're making it a lot worse by adding the high fructose corn syrup to it. So just be careful with that. Same thing with olive oil, as I go off on a tangent. Olive oil, about 70 to 80% of all the olive oil in this world is fake. So olive oil, again, one source. With olive oil, it has a little sticker on it. It's like a white squat box or a circle, and it says third-party certified. So one source, not from Italy and Greece and Turkey and somewhere else. One source, certified, organic. That's what you're looking for. Same thing with honey. And honey, by the way, should be cloudy. If honey is clear, it's not good. In fact, I just saw the other day, I was at my local grocery store, and they had honey really inexpensive. And I thought, this is interesting. Let me look at this. And sure enough, multiple different countries was the source, very clear. I turned it upside down. It was really watery. I said, I'm going to bet you this is a fake. Now, the grocery stores are not doing this on purpose. They don't know that these things are fake. They're buying it from a vendor who's buying it from another vendor who's buying it from a distributor. And so go down the line, and nobody really cares either. It's trying to make a buck. So just be careful. You can get your honey from a local distributor, like somebody on the side of the road that has their own bees. That would be the best way to do it. But I digress, because I was talking about honey as an over-the-counter cough syrup. And it can work without the side effects, and usually cheaper too. Another home remedy that really works, we're talking about home remedies that really work today, is turmeric. Now, turmeric, one study, people with arthritis pain noted their pain levels were more reduced than taking 500 milligrams of medication, 50 milligrams, of an anti-inflammatory drug. So if they took 500 milligrams of turmeric, and the active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin, they got better results than if they took 50 milligrams of an anti-inflammatory drug. The nice part about turmeric is that it has multiple benefits. It's been shown to help fight certain cancers. It helps, it's antioxidant, and of course the anti-inflammatory reaction. So Turmeric, good. Now, in my house, I'll tell you a story. Years ago, I used to go to this one little health food store, not in business anymore, and I would take their compost and just bags of all their produce that they didn't use. It was all organic. And I used to dump it in this little square box that I built that's in my garden. And for years, I did that. So the soil in that garden is extremely rich, black. And I live in Georgia, which is red clay, not really good for growing. And lots of worms, which is a good sign of healthy soil. And so one day, I plant my garden for the year, and these nice, beautiful little leaves started popping up. I didn't know what they were, real tall, and I didn't know what they were, so I left them there. And then fall came around, beautiful flowers formed, and I thought, I don't know what this is. This is curious. So I pulled up one by the root. It was turmeric. It grew itself. It was in the compost somewhere, and now it grows underground. I think it's called rhizoids. It grows and pops up elsewhere. So now it's almost a menace. It covers everything. But beautiful leaves, and if I need turmeric, I just go in the backyard, pull some off, and use it. Pretty simple. But you can do powdered turmeric as well. Whatever you do herbs, try to do organic, because herbs oftentimes are irradiated. They irradiate them so that they don't go bad. It gives them a longer shelf life. And it loses a lot of the nutrients. And there could be pesticides on there. So try to do organic herbs if you can. Okay. In fact, on my website, drjoe.com, I have a supplement, Dr. Joe's Turmeric. And I take a capsule every day. It's just a prophylactic way to keep my inflammation down, give me the nutrients that I need. I want to be careful, of course, with cancer. We all do. I'm not saying this is a cure for anything. I'm saying this is something I do as a safety measure. So turmeric is another home remedy that can really work. So if you have a lot of pain, what can happen is you can get used to taking the medication. One of the guys I work with at my radio station, he takes ibuprofen every day. And if he doesn't take it, he gets a rebound headache, it's called. So with the medication, you get a rebound headache. I've never seen anybody have a rebound issue with turmeric. So try it. If it doesn't work, the nice part about what I'm teaching you today is if it doesn't work, pretty much so what? Didn't work. It's not going to harm you. And that's what's nice about a lot of the home remedies that I like to use. Kind of along the line of turmeric is ginger. Ginger is great for, again, pain and nausea, and it blocks the formation of certain types of inflammatory compounds and breaks down existing inflammation. Now, the anti-inflammatory effects work great and without the risks of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications, the drugs. Ginger is one of my favorite things, and what I do in the winter, and I'll tell you a little secret I do, is I get organic ginger, and I peel it, and then I put it in a food processor. I got like a Vitamix, and I cover it about halfway with organic lemon juice, and I puree it. You got to puree it a lot because ginger has strings in it, so you really want to break it down until it's just mush, kind of like tomato puree. And then I put it in an ice cube tray and I freeze it. So I have a bag of ice cubes, ginger ice cubes, in my freezer. And I do it at once. Usually it's like on a Sunday or something like that. I'll be watching TV or something. It's rainy and I'll just make a bunch of it. And then in the morning, I'll take one ginger cube, put a big cup, hot water, and then you could put stevia in it. If you're okay with honey, you could add some honey to it. And it's an amazing way to start your day. It's an incredible tea. Really warms you up on the inside. It's anti-inflammatory. It's an aphrodisiac, too, so be careful with that. But it's a wonderful way to start your day. And it gives you a little burst of energy as well. So that's a natural tea that you can make. It's real easy to make. And once you make a bunch of it, it's done. I don't know. I make 3 or 4 ice cube trays of it. And it lasts me for months and months, sometimes a whole winter. Now, I have it almost every day. Not every day. Sometimes I'll have other teas. But it's a great way to get a medicinal benefit from drinking tea as well. And it's anti-inflammatory. So that's kind of a fun thing that I know works because I do it in the winter, I'd say at least 5 times a week. So it's kind of cool. Other things, remedies that work to help ease pain. How about romance? Romance can actually ease your pain, especially with certain kinds of headaches. So the excuse of not tonight, I have a headache, doesn't really hold up. Because a lot of times when romance is involved, it can relieve the headaches, especially migraines. It's been shown to improve heart health, ease stress, boost mental alertness, relax the body. So romance releases a lot of endorphins in the brain, and endorphins are natural painkillers. In fact, endorphins can be 16 times more powerful than morphine, ounce for ounce. So that could be something you could add to your protocol, if you will. And it's a natural remedy that works. And the nice part is, as long as you're careful, there shouldn't be any problems with it. So what I'm talking about, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, by the way, folks, if you're just tuning in. What I'm talking about today are natural remedies or home remedies that really work. And this is fun because a lot of these things I do every day. And when I was putting this show together, I was thinking to myself, what do I do every day? And over 40 years of research, these are things I've just incorporated into my life. I don't even think of them as home remedies. I just think of it as part of my lifestyle. So I started writing them down and I went, oh, this is going to make a great show. So it's kind of cool. Green tea. Green tea has something in it called EGCG. It's a long term. And it's a wonderful antioxidant. It can protect cells from damage. It can even lower your odds of certain, like heart disease, certain types of cancer, skin, lung, breast, colon. So with the green tea, you have to drink, 3, 4, 5 cups a day. Now, it does have caffeine in it. I can't do caffeine. If I do caffeine, I get a headache. So I can't do green tea. But a lot of people can, obviously. Most people can. So it might be something to consider. If you're going to have a tea, get some green tea. Now, I don't like the flavor of green tea. To me, it tastes like, I don't know, soap water or dishwater. So what you can do is if you need to, jazz it up a little bit, you can put a little lemon in there if you want to. Lemon is great for you. Stevia, Lohan, xylitol, these are natural sweeteners that aren't going to have the impact that sugar have, and certainly not the impact artificial sweetener has. Artificial sweetener is the worst of the worst. But green tea is good if you want to incorporate it into your lifestyle. Again, you got to do several cups to see a medicinal benefit, but it certainly isn't going to hurt you to have 1 or 2 cups. So instead of going out and buying coffee and spending a fortune on coffee, maybe have some green tea instead. You can, like I said, jazz it up with a little lemon or stevia, and that would be a much better choice. A lot cheaper, too, by the way. I grew up Italian. Obviously, my last name, Esposito, is Italian. My grandparents were off the boat, as we say. I don't know if you know that term. But they came over, we think, I was young when they passed, we think in the early 1900s. And so they came over, and my grandmother and grandfather, heavy Italian accent. And back then, you didn't have schooling. You didn't have classes, online things. So a lot of these people that came over at that time carried that accent on and their small control of English for their entire lives. My grandfather was better than my grandmother at English. But everything they made, I say everything, I can't think of anything they didn't, had garlic in it. Now, they didn't understand why. They knew how. Put the garlic in, it adds flavor, and it's good for you. But my grandmother had 10 kids. We don't know how many miscarriages. That was never discussed back then. And she lived to, we think, 98 years old. Why do I say I think? Because she was born in the late 1800s. They didn't have birth certificates back then. She was born at home. She doesn't know when she was born. So we guessed around, on her tombstone, we guessed at her lifespan because she thought she knew when her birthday was. So we kind of went with that. So garlic was great because people that eat more garlic are less likely to get certain types of cancer. Now, garlic supplements don't have the same effect. If I'm going to take these garlic supplements, these deodorized, doesn't have the same effect. It can help lower blood pressure, cholesterol. It doesn't seem to help on a lot of things that it claims, though. So just be careful with that. Like I said, blood pressure. It might help blood pressure a little bit, but it's not going to like you taking a medication or taking something like nitric oxide supplements to open up the blood vessels. But garlic is also antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. There's a supplement we have on our website, drjoe.com, and it's Dr. Joe's seasonal tonic. And it's ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic. And we puree that in an apple cider vinegar, and then we ferment it. And it's really powerful. If you haven't tried it yet, it's really strong. But I'll tell you, people swear, myself included, by this product. Pilots carry it with them because when I fly, I get sick. I don't know what it is. When I fly, I'm going to get sick. And pilots, flight attendants, people that travel a lot, people that just want to stay healthy. So it's one of those things that I take every day during the winter, and it helps keep my immune system strong. Kind of nice. We also have something called Wellness Booster, and that also keeps the immune system strong as well. So those are 2 on the website. They're both very powerful flavors. They're liquids. So if you don't like strong flavors, it's probably not the best one for you. Other home remedies that really work. Things like massage, heat, cold. That kind of brings us then into chiropractic. Chiropractic's not a home remedy, but chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So if you have back pain, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headache, sciatica, I can't understand for the life of me why you wouldn't start with chiropractic care. Now, there's different types of chiropractors, different types of techniques, just like there's different types of everything out there. And I remember one time I had a patient come in, and they said, well, I went to a chiropractor for one visit, and it didn't fix my sciatica. And I said, did you marry the first guy you ever dated? And she said, what are you talking about? I said, you didn't marry the first guy you ever dated, right? You didn't give up on men. You've been to restaurants, had a bad meal. You didn't give up on food. So just because one visit, which nothing is ever fixed in one visit, by the way, didn't fix something, it doesn't mean you should give up on something. So eventually I became a great patient, referred a lot of patients. They've been patient of mine for like 20 years now. And I remember her telling me a couple of years ago, she said, thank you for straightening me out on that. I didn't give it a chance. So chiropractic care, again, most effective, least expensive treatment. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, I want you to make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We can get you an appointment very quickly. And my team of doctors are handpicked by me, they're trained by me, and they're my personal doctors. They're the ones that take care of me and my loved ones. So if I don't trust them taking care of me, I don't trust them taking care of you. I had many, many doctors over the years want to intern with Dr. Joe. I want to study under Dr. Joe. And after one guy lasted a day and a half, I said, you don't have what it takes to be here. I said, go out, cut your teeth somewhere else, come back in 5 years, and we'll talk again. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, digestive issues, pain issues, headaches, neck pain, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Book an appointment right now. Normally, the first visit is $940. For my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. I don't know anyone who's doing all of that at any price. We want to get to the cause of your healthcare problems and not just treat the symptoms. And, of course, do nutrition evaluation with everybody, too. So drjoe.com, we'd love to have you as a patient. So do that right now. Yes, we accept all insurances. It depends if your insurance covers it, but we accept you. We have cash plans, payment plans. Again, it's so inexpensive, it's not really that big a deal. So drjoe.com. We want to be your doctors. We'd love to see you. So if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about today are home remedies that really work. And these are things that I've incorporated into my life that I never even thought about until I said, I should do a show about this. This is a kind of behind the scenes of Dr. Joe's life. When I was a kid, horrible sinus problems. Nose ran constantly. I was sick all the time. I remember having a sore throat every winter, nonstop. I was cold after cold after cold. And in the meantime, in the interim, it was always a runny nose. So my mother used to give me, Dr. Waltman, he's dead now, so I can say his name, was our general practitioner. And he used to give me something called the Easter pill. And the Easter pill, it turns out, was, an antibiotic or an antihistamine. And I remember it was multicolored like an Easter egg. That's why we called it the Easter pill. And I just talking about it, I can taste it. And I was a child when I did this stuff, a toddler. And I could still taste it in my mouth. It was horrible. And it really destroyed a lot of my immune system because long-term medications have side effects. I mean, they do what they do. Sometimes they're necessary, but they have side effects. And so as I got older, I remember going to college and hearing about something called a neti pot, N-E-T-I. And what it is, you put some salt and warm water mixture into it, and it explains what you got to use pure water. Don't use cheap tap water and a certain type of salt. And it looks like a little teapot. And what you do is you close one nostril, you put the teapot up one nose, and then you let it flow when you open up the other one. And it flows up one nostril and out the other one. It's the weirdest feeling. But it really flushes out your sinuses. So a lot of people have mold growing in their sinuses. They'll have funguses growing in their sinuses. Flush it out. It's antibacterial, antiviral, so it works really well. It's just really a weird feeling. But you can do it, and it's certainly worth a shot. Again, you want to use distilled or cooled boiled water in your neti pot. Don't use tap water because the chlorine can really tear up your nose from tap water. But it's just a neat little thing to have, great for allergy season as well. But as I got older, I realized, why was my nose running all the time? Again, why? I always want to get to the why. And the why was, I don't do well with wheat and dairy products. In fact, none of you do well with wheat and dairy products. Different levels of not well, but we don't do well with wheat and dairy. Dairy's number one food allergen and inflammatory and mucus producer, and then wheat is right up there, number two. So we need to stop those if we can. And when I say if you can, just stop them. So here's my challenge to you. Step number one. First of all, make an appointment to come see us so we can check your nervous system, check your digestive system, look at your diet, drjoe.com. But I want you to cut out all wheat and all dairy for 10 days. That's it. 10 days. Week and a half. I used to say 2 weeks. I'm getting more liberal in my life here. Week and a half, no wheat, no dairy. See how you feel. At the end of 10 days, start eating wheat and dairy again and see how you feel. If I'm wrong, so what? I'm wrong. But I'm not wrong. If I'm right, which I am, then you'll say, okay, now I get it. I understand what you're talking about. Hey, folks, I got to go to a break. If you have any health questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions there. Make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com, at Atlanta, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. The supplements we talked about, the turmeric, the nitric oxide. Of course, the minimum supplements everybody should be taking is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And they're 2 powders, and they taste great. But those are all on the website as well, drjoe.com. If you're a veteran, if the VA refers you to us, the VA pays for your treatment. So go to your doctor at the VA and say, listen, I need to go see Dr. Joe. I have pain, whatever it is, and hopefully they'll refer you to us. And if not, let us know. There's ways we can kind of teach you to word it and stuff like that. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. I'll be right back. Good? You approve? All right. Christy approves. So we can continue. If without that, we'd close. Done. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if everyone just followed everything you said? Yeah. Any questions today, John?
There are a few. What is an effective treatment for gout?
Gout, the first thing you think about is animal protein, right? Because of purine creates into uric acid. But a bigger problem, I find, is fructose. Fructose, high fructose corn syrup, agave nectar, which is loaded with fructose, anything sweetened with fructose. Now, if it's fruit, that's okay. That's different. But fruit juices. Fructose has to be converted into glucose in your liver. And in the process, it creates uric acid. So uric acid gets in your joints, and it hurts. So, number one, cut out all your fructose and high fructose corn syrup. Cut out all your animal products, of course. And then Super Greens, an essential source, is great because it helps alkalize the system because it's an acid. Glutathione is where the uric acid it's built up in the liver, so glutathione helps the liver. And then Super Greens, of course, as well. Super Greens, an essential source. And then nitric oxide. Super Greens, essential source, glutathione, nitric oxide. And cut out the fructose and cut out the meat. And in most cases, it goes away in, a couple of weeks. Sometimes a couple of days, actually. Now, that's not a promise, but that's what I've seen happen. What else you got?
I am in my early 80s and I have type 2 diabetes. My A1C is around 12 and I really need to lower it. Do you have any suggestions?
Absolutely. Yes. Number one question we get is high blood pressure when it comes to ailments. Number 2 is diabetes, of course. Type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance. Why are you insulin resistant? Number one, you're producing too much insulin. You ate too much sugar in your life. The body produced too much insulin. And the way insulin works is insulin goes into the cell and acts like a key, goes into the cell in the keyhole, opens it up, and lets sugar in. If you eat a lot of sugar, you produce a lot of insulin. So the body produces a lot of insulin. The cells say, wait a minute, I can't keep opening up and let sugar in. That's too much. So I'm going to resist the insulin. And now the insulin can't open up the cells, so the sugar builds up in the blood. That was bad. What's worse is vegetable oils, seed oils. What are seed oils? Corn, soy, canola, sunflower, safflower, seed oils, grapeseed oil. They're high in something called omega-6 fatty acids. And we need a little bit of omega-6 fatty acids in our body, but when you have too much of it, especially when they're in a seed form, seed oil presentation, they've been extracted out of the seeds, usually with chemicals and high heat, and they change the molecular structure. Why am I going through all this chemistry? The oils, those seed oils, can clog up the keyhole. So the insulin can't get in and open up the cell, and that's really worse than the sugar. So I want you to cut out all the vegetable oils in your life. The only 3 oils you should allow in your life. Number 1, extra virgin organic coconut oil. Extra virgin organic olive oil from one source, one country source, and it should be certified organic, but also should be a certified third party that it really is olive oil. And avocado oil, same thing, organic. So coconut oil, extra virgin, all organic. Coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil. That's it. No butter, no margarine. All that's out of your life. And then go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and type in the search bar diabetes. Listen to the show we did on diabetes. I'm going to recommend supplements to you in the show. Super Greens, Essential Source. We talked about glutathione to stabilize the blood, the liver. Probably at your age, digestive enzymes. I take digestive enzymes every day. You should too, because we just don't digest food like we used to. And now we'll take the stress off the pancreas, which produces the insulin. So again, listen to the show. If you have questions, send me questions or call me through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to talk to you. Better yet, make an appointment to come see us, and then we can check the spine and the structure too. So, what else you got?
I have begun rinsing my mouth with extra virgin organic coconut oil to whiten my teeth. It seems to be working well, but I want to make sure that there aren't any health downsides to this.
Nope, no downsides at all. It's called oil pulling. I love oil pulling. It's great. Take a extra virgin coconut oil, swish it around your mouth. You can swish for 10 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. You can do it up to 20 minutes. I can only do it for about 9 minutes before I start gagging. Now, with the coconut oil, don't spit it down your sink. It'll clog up your pipes. Spit it outside, spit it in a trash can. But coconut oil hardens when it gets cold. So you'll clog up your pipes if you do that. But oil pulling is wonderful. It's great for infections. It's great. Yeah, so no downside to it. Don't swallow the oil, though. What else?
Is baby powder okay?
No.
I use it on my feet after I shower and before I put on my shoes.
Nope. Not good. You can use cornstarch if you want to. Organic cornstarch. That would be a much better choice. Now, the question then is, why are your feet sweating so much? It could be a liver toxicity. Many times when the feet sweat or stink, it's a liver issue. So go to my website, drjoe.com, type liver in the search bar, and do everything that show talks about. And I think you'll be very happy with the results.
That is all.
Beautiful. All right, folks, part 2. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. If you hung around with me, thanks for hanging on. If you're just joining us, welcome. Glad you could be here. As always, we try to give you information so you can naturally get well and stay well. That's my goal. Has been for 40 years. Love it. I never get more excited than what I'm doing right now. When I get to teach you guys all the things I've learned. Does me no good if I can't share it with you. So we're talking about home remedies that really work. Cinnamon. Research has shown that cinnamon added to the diet can help lower your glucose levels. So if you're a diabetic, start adding cinnamon to your diet. It's not going to cure your diabetes. It's part of a protocol. Cinnamon extracts can be bad for your liver in large doses, so just use powdered cinnamon. The cinnamon extract's a little tough. I like Ceylon cinnamon, Ceylon. That seems to be the one that has the most research behind it, and it seems to work the best. Again, any herb or spice you're going to do, try to do organic if possible. But cinnamon is great to stabilize blood sugar. So if you're one of these people that crashes at 10 o'clock in the morning or crashes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, cinnamon can be something to stabilize your blood sugar. I was covering for a friend of mine a show last week, and I mentioned, people talk about diabetes all the time, and I mentioned a supplement. It's called Gymnema, Gymnema. And Gymnema also stabilizes your blood sugar, better than cinnamon, actually. And boy, my website blew up. Where's the link to that? Where is it? Because, again, if I recommend something, especially a supplement, I'm probably going to give you a brand name because I don't trust a lot of people out there. I don't have a Gymnema supplement, but I can send you a link if you want to. Just go to my website, drjoe.com. So Gymnema is great to stabilize blood sugar for everybody. Helps curb hunger so you don't get those hunger cravings and go crazy and eat sugar. But here's a little trick I'm going to teach. It's kind of off-label. If you get the Gymnema, it's a tablet. You just swallow it. But you're craving sugar. You're going nuts. I got to have ice cream. I got to have candy. I got to have liquor. What I want you to do is chew the tablet. Doesn't taste good, but that's not why I'm having you do it. Chew the tablet and then try eating something sweet. Try drinking some alcohol. Has no flavor. Something in a Gymnema, and I don't know exactly what it is, will numb the taste buds that taste sweet. And you're going, I'm eating this cannoli, I'm eating this cookie, whatever. I'm Italian, I say cannoli. I'm eating this cookie, I'm eating this sweet, and it has no flavor. I don't have to eat it anymore. And immediately, you cut your cravings. So taking it every day stabilizes and cuts your cravings. But when you chew it, that's kind of like an off-label for an emergency. Another thing when you're craving sugar is have something really sour. So here's my challenge to you. Next time you have to have something sweet, and you ran out of your Gymnema because you ordered it and you ran out of it. It's really cheap, by the way, too. Have a pickle, a dill pickle. Really sour, really salty. And after eating the pickle, you're going to go, I don't have that sugar craving anymore. It really works amazingly well. And pickles are good for you too. So it's just kind of a neat little thing that you can try. Again, we're talking about home remedies today, and I'm just throwing them out at you, and I want you to follow with them. Another home remedy that I use, and it's not really a home remedy, but supplements. Supplements work wonders when you know what you're doing with them. Now, there's a lot of junk on the market. There's a lot of cheap ones, and I've had people already say, well, Dr. Joe, I was taking your B complex, but I saw that, box store A had it a lot cheaper, so I bought it from them. My German grandfather, again, half Italian, half German, he came over in 1923 to get away from Hitler. Big, brawny man, strong as an ox, master carpenter, didn't talk much. And when he did talk, he was very philosophical. And one of the things he said to me when I was a kid, I even wrote it in one of my books, he said, Josef, that's Joseph in German, Josef, always buy the best. It's always cheaper. And I didn't understand that because I grew up really poor. My father was disabled. We were really poor. And I didn't understand it because we always did what we could. But as I got older, I realized, there's certain things you don't want to cut corners on. And certainly one of them is your health. Now, more expensive doesn't mean better. Go for quality, and that's always the challenge. Where do you find a good doctor? Well, I want to be your doctor. I think I'm pretty good. My team of doctors are really good. So supplement-wise, too, I vet all my supplements. I make sure that what I consider the best in the world. So taking things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, I do that first thing in the morning every day. Did it this morning like I always do. I got a little glass jar, and I add a coconut milk, almond milk, whatever I have. Coconut milk's better choice if you have to pick one. And then I add a scoop of Super Greens, a scoop of Essential Source, shake it up, it's powders, and I drink it down. It takes 30 seconds, a minute to do. Wash out the jar, put it on my, my dish rack, and I'm done. It's the minimum supplements you need every day. Because when it comes to home remedies, when it comes to your health, many of the conditions you have is because you're nutrient deficient. That's it. You're just nutrient deficient. I can't run my car unless I have all the right chemicals in there, the right kind of gas, the right level of octane, make sure I got oil in there. The car runs because you put the right chemicals in it. If I'm going to bake a cake, I have to have all the ingredients exactly the way it's supposed to be, or else it doesn't work. If I'm going to make bread, it has to come out the right way. I used to be a baker, by the way. I used to make the donuts. Yeah, I worked there. I was 14 years old when I did, but I was a baker. And I knew that you had to have the exact right amount of sugar, right amount of yeast, right amount of flour. It had to be a certain kind of flour. You had to let it rise for a certain amount of time. That's the recipe. And for some reason, we'll listen to a recipe when it comes to cake or cookies, but we don't listen to the recipe when it comes to our own body. It is so easy to beat most nutritional deficiencies. That's why I created Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Again, they're 2 powders. They're on the website, drjoe.com. Folks, just do it. It's probably the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. And I get this all the time, every day almost. People say, Dr. Joe, how did I live without this stuff? This stuff's amazing. I get it on reorder from my website. You can get a discount if you put it on reorder. And they say, if I run out by accident, it goes, I lose my mind. So it's a wonderful thing to have part of your life. So Super Greens and Essential Source are on the website, drjoe.com. That's the minimum nutrients. Another issue we have with nutrients, as I'm going down a rabbit hole here, is that about 30-40% of us can't do something called methylation. So if I take something in my body, whatever that is, let's assume it's a steak, I wouldn't do that, or broccoli. I can't absorb the nutrients in the steak and the broccoli. My body has to convert it, methylate it, and make it a usable form. Well, one of the things we have trouble methylating is vitamin B12. Now, a couple of things. Number one, as you get older, you don't absorb it as well as you used to. You have a chemical in your stomach called intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor allows you to absorb B12. As you get older, your intrinsic factor levels drop. Sometimes you're taking antacids, which, by the way, you shouldn't, because you can adjust the stomach and fix acid reflux in most cases. If you're taking antacids, it lowers your production of vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, calcium. And so there's a lot of reasons why you can't absorb B12. But if you can't methylate the B12, you can't use it. And you'll see things like low platelet count, fatigue, cracks around the side of your lips, constantly putting on lip stuff, lip gloss, or a chapstick type thing, bags under the eyes, brain fog, simply because you're not able to methylate the B12. So the way around that is, A, you can do a $600 test to see if you have that gene, or B, Take a methylated B12 supplement. Problem solved. Dr. Joe's Essential Source and Dr. Joe's B Complex both have methylated B12 in it. Somebody came to me the other day and said, Dr. Joe, I work with autistic children, a new patient. And I said, they have bad breath, don't they? She looked at me. She goes, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, they can't digest their food properly in many cases, and they can't methylate. So I said, grab some Dr. Joe's B Complex and just sprinkle it on their food and see what happens. So she did. Cheap fix. It didn't work. It didn't work. I gave him some B12. A couple of days later, she came back. She goes, I'm noticing a change. They're much calmer. They're more able. They're more communicative. She goes, they're not healed. I'm not going to cure autism, but I've never had an autistic child that didn't have a methylation problem. Now, I'm not saying I have a cure for autism. What I'm saying is this is a home remedy that you can use. And she was just so excited. She was in tears. She goes, I have got my degree in special ed studies. Why have I never heard this before? And a B12 complex pill cost you a couple of pennies. And I said, I don't know. But you really should be taking a B complex every day, and it really should be in a methylated form. Because B12 comes in a cyanocobalamin or methylcobalamin. Cyanocobalamin, cyanide, is the molecule that's on cyanocobalamin. It's everywhere because it's cheap. Methylcobalamin, slightly more expensive, but a heck of a lot better to use. So we do have genetic issues. Many of us have genetic problems, and there's ways around that. And one of the easy ways to do it is just make sure you're taking methylated supplements. How easy was that home remedy? That wasn't even on my list. I just pulled that out of my head. So I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about home remedies that really work. And I get excited about these things because I see it work. I see it happening every day. Now, is it an end-all, be-all, cure-all, everything I'm teaching you? Absolutely not. But the more you learn, the better you are. I study every day. You should too. So if you like what you're hearing, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we do at least 2 podcasts a week. And we have all podcasts stored on your podcast service. You can go back there. On our website, drjoe.com, we have over 4,000 hours of content. So you can type in the search bar, what are you looking for? Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's digestive issues. Maybe women's hormone issues. Maybe it's sexual dysfunction. Maybe it's back pain, leg pain, hip pain, acid reflux. We've got it covered. drjoe.com. And it's free. Source is free. Just go to the website, drjoe.com. Type in the search bar what you're looking for. We got it. Go to your podcast service. We got it there. Follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. We post health tips. 1-minute health tips. That's it. I've learned that, the people's attention span is a little shorter than it used to be. 1-minute health tips or less. And it's free. If you don't like it, unfollow me. And if you really want to become an insider, go to my website, drjoe.com, and sign up for our newsletter. And that's free. And we don't send out a lot of stuff, but when we do, it's really important. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. I'm making this as easy as possible for you folks. I want to get this information to you because I know after 40 years of doing this, I see the results. I'm blown away every day with chiropractic care. Every single day. I've missed a half a day of work in almost 40 years. And every day I'm blown away with the results. Because the nervous system controls everything. And if there's interference with the nervous system, the body can't work. Now, we work in conjunction with a lot of doctors, orthopedic surgeons, neurologists, neurosurgeons, dentists, TMJ experts, headache specialists, psychologists, psychiatrists. And we work together with those doctors to try to get the body working better so that the patient responds better to the treatment. A lot of cases, they don't need any other treatment. Probably major majority, I'd say 85%. But sometimes we need help. And I have no problem sharing my patients because I want to get you the best treatment you can. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book it right online, call us, send us an email, whatever it is. We'll get you set up as soon as possible. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on a second visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. I don't know anyone in the world who's doing all that at any price. But we want to find out if you're a candidate for our treatment. And if you are, great. If you're not, that's okay too. And we accept people with all insurances. Depends what the insurance covers, but we accept you. We have cash plans available, Medicare, car accidents. If you're ever in a car accident, folks, please, if the car's damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So if you're in an accident, come see us immediately. You will get phone calls from scammers as soon as you're in the accident, sometimes that same day. Come see this doctor. Come see this lawyer. It's a scam. Don't fall for it. It's a lie and it's a scam. So drjoe.com. I want to see you. I want to be your doctor. All my doctors want to be your doctor. It's kind of fun. So what we're talking about today are home remedies that really work. So hot bath. My grandmother, my German grandmother, and Germans seem to have an affinity for natural health care. Smart group of people, by the way, too. I'm half German, that's why I can say it. Good for all sorts of problems. Muscle aches, bones, tendons. Those are the tissues that connect your muscles to your bones. But don't make it too hot. Because if it's too hot, you can hurt yourself. Now, I had somebody call into one of my shows the other day, and she said, Dr. Joe, I'm terribly dehydrated, and I drink a lot of water, and I'm still dehydrated. I didn't know how she knew she was dehydrated. But number one, if you drink too much water, if you're drinking like more than, 3 or 4 liters a day, you can be peeing out your electrolytes, and that could cause you to not retain fluids. You need electrolytes to absorb the water. But I said, do this. Take a bath and add some Epsom salts. Good old school Epsom salts. Because I know when I played football, my grandmother always said, go take an Epsom salts bath. And I never understood why, but it always worked. Epsom salts is high in magnesium, and magnesium can be absorbed right through the skin. But so can water. And so this is a way you can rehydrate yourself. And I'll tell you a story. There was a woman in my life, and she was pregnant, and she was so sick that she couldn't even chew an ice cube. I mean, she couldn't hold any fluid, and she was getting desperately ill, vomiting profusely, and I was scared. I was afraid she was going to die and her baby was going to die. So I said, how do I hydrate this woman? So I thought, let me stick her in a bath. And I put her in a hot bath, not warm bath, and within probably 5 minutes, like a flower, she blossomed. And then she was able to calm down, and then she was able to take some fluids in, and she got over that morning sickness. So baths are great. Now, I have a whole house water filter because if I take a bath, I don't want to sit in water that's loaded with chlorine and fluorine. And because when you take a bath, it opens up the pores, you can absorb these things, just like magnesium does from the Epsom salts. So I like my whole house water filter. If you want information about that, just send me an email, and I'll send you to the company I use. But, yeah, it's expensive, several $1,000s, well worth it. Every drop of water that I drink, that I wash my clothes in, wash my hair in, that I in my bathtub, I shower, every drop of water in my house is filtered. And I've had people come to my house and say, your water tastes different. And I said, think about what you just said. It doesn't taste different. It tastes like nothing. You're right. It has no flavor. Water shouldn't have flavor. It shouldn't taste like pool water. Okay? So anyway, I'm off on a tangent there. Ice packs. When you hurt your back, and again, I see a lot of pain patients in my career. I'm board certified in pain management and chiropractic and orthopedics and double board certified in nutrition and a bunch of other degrees. But when patients come in, it's usually on a Monday. It's usually early in the morning. It's usually an emergency. And they're almost always like crawling into the office. I've had them brought in by ambulances already. And they're in so much pain and they hurt their back. What'd you do? I was doing housework. I was mowing the lawn. I was doing yard work. What did you do after that? Well, I went home and I took a hot bath. I went home and put the electric heating pad on it. And I left it on. I slept on it all night. When you have inflammation in the body, like an injury, diseases have inflammation too, and you put heat on it, it's going to increase the circulation, which increases the inflammation, which makes the problem substantially worse. So I know it's Monday. I know it's morning because they put hot packs on it. Many times they slept on it on Saturday night. And we have to get them on the table and get them adjusted, calm them down, put ice on it, use cold laser to bring down the inflammation, use acoustic wave therapy to bring down the inflammation. And 99% of the cases, they can walk out. And they just think we're the coolest people on earth. And I tell them, when you have an acute injury, a new injury, ice, not heat. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. Don't use heat. Yeah, but no. I know heat feels better. Ice. Otherwise, you're going to be calling me on a Monday morning in an emergency and being brought in by somebody or an emergency or an ambulance. So trust me on this one. And don't use ice for more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. Otherwise, you can go into frostbite too. So I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. What we're talking about today is we're talking about home remedies that really work. Lavender, we talked a little bit about peppermint oil earlier on, But lavender oil has been shown to help lower migraines, anxiety, memory troubles, stress, sleep. And with lavender oil, once again, if you're going to do essential oils, make sure it's pure organic essential oils, little tiny bottles. And what you can do is just put a little bit around the house. I've seen this already too, where people will take a little sash of lavender, like even a sock or something, and put some extra lavender oil in it and just put it in bed with them. And you inhale the lavender, and it's very calming. But again, if it's fake lavender, if it's a cheap stuff you got at the big box store, those are going to be chemicals, and they have chemicals in them called phthalates. Phthalates are highly toxic. They're hormone disruptors. They interfere with your estrogen. And so please don't use any artificial scents. That's candles, that's hairspray, colognes, house cleaners, the things that make the house smell nice, offices. Please, I'm begging you, don't use them, because they're very, very dangerous. They can mess with your brain. They can mess with your hormones. I don't want that. Pure organic essential oils, perfectly fine with. I'm good with that. If you're pregnant, fenugreek. Fenugreek can help with milk production for breastfeeding. People experience diarrhea. Fenugreek is a great water-soluble fiber and can help firm up your stools. If you're constipated, don't use fenugreek, okay? If you do use fenugreek, or if you're constipated, just make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Because one of the problems I see with people when it comes to digestion is they just don't drink enough water. And we get them drinking water, and it solves so many problems. In fact, if I had to give you the quickest, easiest, cheapest one thing to do, what's the one thing to do, Dr. Joe? It would be Super Greens and Essential Source supplements. Of course, that's the minimum things you should do. But just drink more water. Filtered water, please, not just tap water. I know tap water is cheap, but it may not be the best. And even if you can't afford a big house water filter, get like a Brita. I have no connection with Brita water filters, but anything to filter it out, okay? Because it's going to make your life a whole lot better. In fact, one of the secrets I've heard about fast food chains, why their sodas taste different, is they use filtered water. So that could be a little secret there for you. You can do it too. We're kind of on a theme of supplements here, magnesium. Almost everybody is deficient in magnesium. Magnesium does over 300 different things in your body, and most of us just don't have enough of it. So spinach, almonds, avocados, lentils, beans, chickpeas, bananas, even dark chocolate is going to be high in magnesium. Now, if you're going to eat chocolate, here's my rules. Small amounts of organic dark chocolate. How much is a small amount? About the tip of your thumb. That's a small amount. You don't need a lot. Okay, I know you like it. I used to like it too until I realized it gave me headaches. But a small amount of organic dark chocolate. Not the cheap milk stuff with other chemicals and additives and milk. No, organic dark chocolate, just a bite. So here's what's going to happen. You could eat a whole bar of chocolate, or you could eat a bite. Wait 20 minutes. You're going to be satisfied with the small bite, then more satisfied than you will with the whole chocolate bar. Because you can overwhelm your body. Your body can only handle so much of these pleasure intake, drugs, sugar, and the body starts to downregulate. What that means is it doesn't experience the pleasure as much. And so it lessens the pleasure exponentially. The more you eat, the less the pleasure. And so a small amount is going to give you more pleasure than a large amount, which is going to give you less pleasure. Now, chocolate also has a chemical in it called phenylethylamines, PEAs. Now, I've read conflicting studies on this, but phenylethylamine is a chemical that's released in your brain when you're in love. And so when we stress, when we have anxiety, we eat chocolate, we feel good while we feel loved. But you don't need a whole lot. Again, that inverse curve that happens. The more you eat, the less pleasure you get. So a small amount, and I don't know, it seems to work for the phenylethylamine. Some studies say it doesn't. Some studies says it does. It's not going to hurt you a small amount, okay? Again, I try to be real. People say, well, you're so extreme in what you do. I said, no, this is extreme health. My goal is to get you to the level of extreme health. Now, you don't have to do everything I say. That's the other thing, too. You don't have to do everything I say. Do something. Do a little step. Drink more water. Take Super Greens and Essential Source. Get chiropractic evaluation to see if you have neurological issues. Fix your digestive system. Have something raw at every meal. And these little tiny things are going to build up. And suddenly people are going to start saying, you look better today. You look younger. Did you get a new haircut? Did you lose weight? No, you're just getting healthy. And I can't imagine anything more valuable than getting healthy. I've treated a lot of sick people in my life thousands, I'm going to say tens of thousands of sick people in my life. And every one of them is willing to negotiate with God. God, if I could just get over this, I'll do whatever you say. Well, do it now. Hopefully you won't have to do it. Not saying I'm God, but I mean, people say that. Dr. Joe, I'll do whatever you say. So, folks, I'm running out of time. If you have any health questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. To make an appointment to come see us in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, drjoe.com. You can book it right online or call us. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you guys to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays and a follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. If you're serious about wanting to get well, I want to be your doctor. Follow us on social media. We post health tips every single day. Dr. Joe, at Dr. Joe Esposito, at Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Folks, I can't thank you enough for letting me take a little time out of your life to share this knowledge because, I want to naturally get you well and keep you well. drjoe.com. Talk to you soon. Clear? Any questions?
Is cayenne pepper healthy?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you should do it. That's the best of all the peppers, by the way. It's a vasodilator, increase your circulation. In fact, when I do my coaching for romance, I'll tell people to, an hour before romance, have some cayenne pepper. Now, don't do it on an empty stomach. You'll cramp up, and that's not a lot of fun. But if you do it with some food, it's really good for you because it increases circulation to everything. So, what else?
Do you recommend any specific mouthwashes?
Mouthwash you got to be careful with because mouthwash will kill off the bacteria in your mouth that creates nitric oxide. And so we don't want to do that. So the best mouthwash you can do is a clove. Those little cloves that you used to stick in oranges when you were a kid. I carry them with me. I have some in my bag over here that I carry my show notes with. I have my car. All my suit jackets have them. The reason is, take the clove, it has a little bulb on the end. Break the bulb off because that can just, no big deal. And put the clove in your mouth and just suck on it. Antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, more antioxidants than blueberries. And I put it in my cheek and gum. I've already given 2 3-hour lectures. Pulled the clove down, sucked on it because people come up to me afterwards and want to talk to me, and then my breath smells nice. So cloves would be the best thing for you. Now, you got to find out why you have bad breath, too. Now, after I talk for 4 hours, I'm just dry. But if you smell like potty, if you smell like a toilet, that's usually a sign of your stomach. It's a digestive issue. You're not digesting food properly. And in that case, we need to adjust or pull your stomach away from the diaphragm. I was at a party the other day with a date, and she said to me, she goes, your breath stinks. You need to get your stomach adjusted. And I went, thank you. I was not offended. My stomach had pushed up against my diaphragm. And so I was not talking close to people. Oh, God, his breath stinks. I went to the office the next day, had one of my doctors pull my stomach down. Breath was fine. So it depends the cause of your breath, but many times it's a digestive issue. But cloves are great. I carry them with me everywhere. And they're real cheap. A little plastic bag, buy a bunch. If they start losing their flavor, throw them away, get a new one. So what else you got?
What are some good spices to add to soups and stews?
Well, garlic, of course, is wonderful. Celery is wonderful. Celtic sea salt is the best salt that you can use. Cayenne pepper, we talked about that. And then you kind of decide. Bay leaves are great. Oregano is wonderful if you want to go to the Italian flair. Ginger is great if you want to go more Asian. That's how I make my soups. So I kind of decide what direction I want to go in and then go from there. But any of the spices are amazing. In fact, I did a show on this a while ago. The biggest bang for your buck you'll ever get when it comes to nutrition is spices. So shake it up. Berber is another one if you want to have it more of an Ethiopian flavor. I use that sometimes. I love Ethiopian food. Trying to think of my spice cabinet. I said parsley, oregano. Those are the basics, and then you can get a little crazy too. You want to try some nutmeg in there a little bit too. That'll give it a very different flavor. But yeah, shake it up and use as many as you can. What else?
What is the best cure for acid reflux?
Adjust your stomach. Number 2 reason we see patients. Number 1 is pain. Number 2 is acid reflux. You have a sheet of muscle called your diaphragm, and the stomach sits below the diaphragm. In many cases, the stomach pushes up into the diaphragm, and that can cause acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, snoring, bad breath. And we go in there, we adjust, we pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. It's painless. We check the nerve supply from the spine that goes to the stomach. And in most cases, in fact, I've yet to have one that we didn't get amazing results with. So come see us, drjoe.com. And you're not absorbing your nutrients either. That's really the reason you should come seeing us. So what else?
What is the name again of the water filter that you recommend?
Send me an email, and I'll send you the link. I don't want to say it on the air because I don't want to be promoting somebody that, they didn't pay for an ad. So I got to be careful because I work for other companies. So
What can I do for a sinus post-nasal drip infection?
no wheat, no dairy. Super Green's an essential source. Wellness booster and seasonal tonic. They're all on the website, drjoe.com. That's what I would do. What else?
Can I take probiotics in fish oil on a daily basis long term?
Yes and yes, but I wouldn't take fish oil. Fish oil, you run the risk of mercury toxicity. Many times it's gone rancid, fish oils. So I prefer algae oil. Algae oil is the purest form of omega-3 fatty acids. And fish, by the way, don't produce omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get it from eating smaller fish that eat algae. So algae is the source of the omega-3. Fish is not. So on the website, drjoe.com. Nope, that's nitric oxide. Trying to see if I had a bottle here. Probably don't. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Joe's nitric oxide, Dr. Joe's omega-3, I take it every day. Bottle says take 1 a day. If you want to be a superstar, take 2 a day. It's about 1 gram of omega-3 fatty acids every day. The brain function increases crazy when you start doing it after a few weeks. So, what else?
That is all.
All right, you guys are awesome, man. Thanks for showing up for my little pop-up lecture today here. Follow me on social media, all platforms, at Dr. Joe Esposito. That's your cover charge today for being here. It's on the honor system. And any questions or make an appointment, drjoe.com. See you next week.